Hey guys, it's Eric here at Farpoint Mowers and More. Today, I'm going to take you on a tour of my toolbox. I love it, watching other people's toolbox tours. I figured I'd throw mine in the mix. I've got a Craftsman 26-inch Quiet Glide toolbox that dates back to 1996, as well as a side cabinet for it that dates back to 2000. So, should be pretty cool to look at some vintage toolboxes and the tools that I use to fix mowers here at the shop. Let's do it. So this is the box setup I use down here, and this is my original toolbox from my time as a mechanic. I used this toolbox from 1996 all the way up through 2010, I believe it was, before I finally upgraded to a larger box. And it served me well. If I could go back in time and talk to 1996 version of me, I would have spent the extra $100 and gotten true ball bearings, because as the years have gone on, some of these drawers, the Quiet Glide, which is just slides on its own paint under its own friction, the paint has rusted out on there, and so we have a little bit harder time opening and closing some of them. There's a wax you can buy for them, but it really hasn't helped much. I did purchase that. All right, so I'm going to move the camera closer in. We'll start at the top and we'll go through the entire collection. Hopefully you enjoy this. All right, up on top here, these are my 12-point sockets from my automotive days. These are USA made Craftsman stuff that came with the kit that I bought way back in the day. And I have metric and standard, short and long, all 12-point. The 6-point stuff is up top. I also keep my work gloves up here. And those are just mechanics ones that I picked up at, I think, Napa? Can't remember exactly. I do have a spare holder here that I also picked up, but I ended up just using the ones that came with it. And you can see, that's a pretty nice kit, actually. I've had these for so long. I don't remember where these came from, but they're here. Then over on the right here, this is a fancy digital multimeter that I've got here. I'll zip that for you. That's a pretty nice little setup there. A little bit too nice, actually, but I use it, and it does work well. I actually oftentimes don't grab that one. I grab the Harbor Freight one just because it's $2 and it works just as good. All right, let's move down here, and I'll go through the drawers one at a time here. This one, butane torch here, a couple of utility knives, and a regular knife, and then a lot of these little bits. Gosh, there's so many bits, all these different bits. And move this down, there we go. These are miscellaneous drivers, like bit drivers, quarter-inch drivers, things like that. And you can see, like, bit drivers. And I have too many of them. A couple of random Torx bits as well, and an air chuck for checking tire pressure. Allen keys, a whole set in metric. Those are really nice. And a couple of random pieces like these. I used to use that to pinch off fuel lines, but I think the spring has gone bad, so it doesn't squeeze enough. But I do have a bunch of zip ties that also work for that. All right, we'll start here. Wire brush, valve stems, a couple of valve stems, just some random stuff in here, an air chuck, stapler, and this is cool actually. You take your hacksaw blades in it and allows you to use it without having the big hacksaw there. That actually comes in really handy. And random like stuff and things, nothing in particular, just like pens, pencils. There's some Permatex sealer there. All right. Bit drivers, these are nice for like when we were modifying the shop. That was pretty cool. And HIPAA, these are great tool kit that I got from HIPAA. If you're going to work on small engines, you really need this. It's a bunch of carburetor adjustments, jet cleaning tools, like so many great things here. That tool kit was like 12 bucks, and having to use clean the jets, I really get nervous about sticking anything into a jet, but I have used the for fixing specifically chainsaws, you know. And then spark plug gap tool, a couple of C-clamps rounding out that one. Drill bits, lots of drill bits, like random assorted bits. So up top I've got a pretty fancy set, but here's a Craftsman set. It's missing some. I just use that, and if I have something I don't have, I'll just go up top and grab it. Safety glasses. This is didn't work out anywhere near as well as I'd wanted it to, but a very inexpensive balancer for a mower blades. and a couple of random stuffs and things in there as well. All right, wrenches. Metric wrench set. Oh, let me adjust the camera here. I don't want to make sure you guys get the whole thing here. There we go. Metric wrench set. I have these random assortment of, like, these are Husky, but I have some ratcheting wrenches of varying types. Looks like most of them are Husky, but there may be some other brands in there. And then a couple of overflow Allen wrenches as well. Standard wrenches. These are a set that I got from a girlfriend's father. They just say China, so I don't know where they came from. I think they were Stanley, but standard set for that, which is nice. And then channel locks, adjustable pliers. These are like needle nose, but they're flat nose pliers. They come in handy for taking off the band clamps to get fuel lines off. And here we go with socket extensions and bits and stuff. We got our overflow wrenches. So I have a 1/2 inch, 3/8, and a 1/4 inch breaker bar. Talking about useless. And then a whole bunch of assorted things like that. And then also a couple of 6 points standard that I had left over laying around, so I just used them up. Also a really nice Craftsman mirror I picked up long ago. All right, let's move down to this box, the bottom box here. Battery tester, actually 2 battery testers, a battery jump box, a trickle charger, and a test light. That's pretty much what's there. Flat blade screwdrivers and picks. These are all flat blades. And then I do have a couple of picks, like pointed picks to help get stuff apart when it just wants to be a bear. And then there's Phillips, random Phillips head stuff. Again, this is all assorted stuff that I picked up along the way. You won't see any kind of brand, like I don't have a certain brand that I go with. Generally, I have a lot of Craftsman tools just because I grew up with that. But if I can get my hands on what I need somewhere, I'll buy a Stanley, I'll buy whatever happens to be out there, Husky, you name it. And over here, chisels and punches and scrapers, and files, and a little teeny pry bar. I found that in the road and polished it back up. It's a Stanley made in the USA, but it's actually come in quite handy. All right, then we have this. Again, more wrenches. These are offset wrenches. Don't use those much anymore. I actually used those quite a bit when I was a mechanic, but nowadays I just don't use that stuff. And then these are not as useful as you would think they would be. These are gear wrench flex heads. Yeah, just haven't really. Seems like when you need them, they're just not something you grab. I don't know. If I was gonna not buy a tool, that would be that one. Here's my main socket drawer set, and short and long 3/8. You'll notice all this stuff is 12 point. I recommend using 6 point if possible, but this is my overflow from my Craftsman set that I bought a million years ago. So all this is 12. Got my 3 main sizes, spark plugs, wrenches and stuff as well in there. So 1/4 inch long and short, 3/8 long and short, and the couple of, that should be it. I don't think there's any 1/2 inch in there. There might be 1 or 2. There's also some star bits in there, E bits I guess they are, and some Allen head bits in there as well. Pliers, random assorted pliers. Let me move the camera so you can see every bit of this. Some of these are Craftsman. Some like this are, gosh, I can't remember. I don't remember the name brand, but like none of this stuff is really all that expensive. It's all kind of bottom basement. And it gets a little bit of surface rust on there because you can see we get so much moisture down here. It's starting to rust some of these tools. So I probably have to oil them to keep them working right. Down another drawer, pry bars and a regular size hacksaw. And this I just got, and I reviewed it on the main channel, a torque wrench set that I need to do for rebuilding motors, which is nice. And then some clamps there. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. There you go. And here's the like mix and match, you know, name it. Propane torch kit, which is good for heating up stuff that's stuck. A drill bit sharpener kit that I bought at a yard sale for like $2 and never used. C-clamps, some gloves, just random overflow, actually extras that I just don't need. And then down here I do have a battery charger and some spare idler pulleys. Those came off of cars and I'm going to use those to help make sure that belts don't fall off going forward in the future. right. Okay, so up here on my little shelf, I just have my battery chargers. I got a Wild Badger, Works, and then I think there's a Snap Fresh charger in there somewhere. The one that I have for my Ryobi tools is hanging on the wall. And then this is also, it's a little hard to get in here, but I'll try to show you all this. So tools, so I got a Snap Fresh Sawzall, an old Ryobi drill bit here. Hammers, I've got a rubber mallet and a regular old-fashioned hammer, ball peen. More hammers, another rubber mallet. This came with something I bought, a little precision hammer. I've never used it, but I probably should throw it away. Then a claw hammer. Also, here's my air chuck. I got a nicer air chuck that I picked up somewhere along the way. Merlin is the brand. I think that's a Harbor Freight. Random assorted stuff, just wire. Let me push down there. There we go. This one here, just wire brushes and a scraper. Can't even open that all the way because the lift is in the way right now, but I found that on the side of the road. It's a Cobalt kit. In fact, I'm going to get rid of that kit. I'm going to get rid of that. And then lastly, I won't open it all the way because again, it kind of touches that, but Sawzalls, just random tools, electric power tools that live down there, and that's all there is. So that's it. There's a tour of my toolbox, and I hope you enjoyed that. Obviously, not as impressive as some of the ones out there, but it's my kit. It's my kit for working down here. A lot of it's overflow tools that came from other parts. I've got an automotive channel and an automotive garage that I work at as a professional mechanic. So a lot of the good tools or the big tools are up there. But for working on mowers and stuff, working on bikes, working on mopeds and ATVs and go-karts, things like that, it's a pretty good kit. I guess that'll do it for today, my friends. Take care.